Welcome everyone to the first installment of the Power Rankings for the 2013 Fantasy Baseball League. I know admittedly it's a little late, 4 weeks in, but better late than never, so here it goes. Now, first I want to start off by saying that, yes, I'm doing a video instead of the typical text. I think it's easier on you guys, you don't want to read all that. It's a little more fun, and I just don't feel like typing all that out, so I'm going with this strategy, see how it works. Also, Power Rankings institute power, not directly on standings. If you wanted me to just list you who's best based on standings, just look at the standings. Why would I do this? So this is a kind of what have you done for me lately kind of thing. So if you are 3-1 and you are lower than someone that's 2-2, you can't be like bullshit if you just lost and they've won 2 in a row or something like that, or you have a lower score. There's a lot of things that go into it. Overall points scored is a big factor. Winning and losing streaks and points put up in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Overall record has much less to do with it than everything else when it comes to power rankings. When it comes to playoff seeding, obviously that's what really matters in the end, but let's have a little fun with this, shall we? Now I'm going to go backwards on this one. I'm going to go from 10, count up to number 1. Kind of like we did with the draft order picking. I think it's more fun that way. So without further ado, let's begin. Number 10. This one's kind of a no-brainer. Protege is clearly the worst team in the league right now. He's the only one without a win. He stands at 0-4. Besides that 1 year, 2 years ago when he made it to the championship in fantasy baseball, losing to me, he has not been successful in fantasy sports, largely due to the fact that he loses interest. Now, he's 0-4 already, and it already doesn't appear that he's been setting his lineup. Looking at his lineup, he doesn't have anything strong. Jason Kipnis is his starting second baseman, averaging only 0.7 points per game. In fact, his entire lineup only has one player averaging over 3.3, and that's David Wright. As for pitching, only has 2 starters that average over 10 points a start, and A.J. Burnett, go figure, and Jeff, whatever his name is from the Cubs, who's starting tonight but is currently on his bench. Something like this isn't going to help Protege out in the long run. He may not be the lowest scorer overall, he is 8th, but starting 0-4, it's not a good start for him. Number 9. I have Dave at 9th. Not because I think he's the 9th best team in the league, because I think he's better than that, but because, again, this is power rankings, and his power is low right now. Having lost 3 in a row after starting off 1-0, he's the only team other than Protege with 3 losses. So, a 3-game losing streak does not equal good vibes for a team. However, I do like his team. His offense has been struggling. Justin Upton's been on fire. Outside of that, it doesn't have a lot of shining stars. However, his pitching squad's been absolutely fantastic. Clayton Kershaw is averaging 20.5 points a game. Felix Hernandez is averaging 20. Cliff Lee at 16. Carlos Villanueva at almost 18. Shason, who's on the DL now, but he was averaging 19. Alex Cobb, 19.5. I mean, it's even Bartolo Colon, go figure, is averaging 15 points a start. This is an absolutely stunning pitching squad, and considering his offense isn't particularly good, the pitching more than makes up for that. So he's 1-3 now, but I see this team definitely improving in the near future. Number 8. I'm gonna have to put Juwan in this spot at number 8. Similar to Dave, I like his team more than my ranking shows. I'm putting him at 8th. He is 2-2. However, everyone from this point up is 2-2 or better. Of 5 2-2 teams, I do think he's the worst. He currently stands at 9th overall on the year in total points. Last week he put up 229, which was the 3rd lowest. Luckily he got a win because he was playing Protege, who was the lowest scorer. He could very easily be 1-3 if he was playing just about anyone else last week. But looking at his lineup, I mean, it's promising. I mean, going down his averages, 3.2, 2.6, 2.9, 2.0, 3, 2.9, 3, 3.2, 3.2. Even, I mean, Reyes is on the DL for a while, but he was 3.6. He was having a good year. Pitching, averages of 15, 10, 17, 17, 12, 13, 11. I mean, you can't hate on this team. It's producing better than it would show. I'm not sure how he's the ninth lowest scorer with those numbers, but I mean, he's got room for improvement. Roy Halladay, he's only averaging 10 points a game because he started off with a -5 and a -13. Since then, he's in the last 3 starts, he's 2-0. He's let up 4 runs over 21 innings with fantasy points of 21, 23, and 24. I'll look for that trend to continue. Josh Hamilton, 1.1 points per game. Averages just 219 on the year, just 2 home runs. I mean, that can't get worse. It's only got to get better. He's definitely got room for improvement. He's 2-2. I'm just worried, Joan hasn't consistently been a playoff contender. But, I mean, he's got potential. He stands at 2-2. I'm looking to see him stay around 500 for a little while. I think that's where he stands. 500 is right on the edge. 500 should get you in the playoffs down the road. 6 teams out of 10 make it. So if you look at 9 and 9 will get you in. 8 and 10 could probably even get you in, potentially. So he's got still early, but he's still got a good chance. Number 7. Now this is the pick I know I'm probably going to get the most shit for, if not, for, well, at least the most shit for putting someone lower than they think they deserve. Why do I put Panda at number 7? He's 3-1, which is tied for the best record in the league. He's won 2 straight, which is tied for the best current winning streak. Why is he 7th? Well, that is because he is the lowest scorer on the year. Just 820 points over 4 weeks puts him at about 205 points a week, which is abysmal. Just narrowly passing Joan, who has 822 on the year. Panda is not looking too good. He's just squeaking by with wins because he's playing guys who just happen to have slightly worse weeks than him that week. Miguel Cabrera, obviously producing 4.1 points a game. He's already got 26 RBIs. He's batting close to 400. Obvious perennial stud. Outside of that, he's got no one in his offense, starting or bench, averaging 3 points a game. Instead, you got a lot of guys with 1.7. Matt Wieters, 1.6. Neil Walker, 1.5. Jay Bruce, 2.0. Ian Desmond, 1.4. Eric Hosmer, 1.7. Will Middlebrooks, 1.3. Adam Dunn, 0.9 for a couple of guys. Looking at his starters, Matt Moore has been an absolute stud. He's actually the 4th ranked starting pitcher in fantasy right now. 5 starts, he's 5-0, never gotten less than 19 fantasy points, and he's gotten 3 times he's gotten 26 or more. His ERA is 1.13 and a WHIP of under 1. Obvious stud. Outside that, Derek Holland's doing decent, 13.6. Tim Lincecum, surprisingly making a comeback year, 12.4. Strasburg's doing 10. He could do a little bit better. But, decent pitching overall. He's got Rivera and Casey Janssen relieving. It's just that offense. I don't know if it's enough to make up for it. And his offense underproducing. It's showing through with the lowest points in the year. Panda, I feel for you, bud, but you gotta make some moves or something bad's gonna happen real quick, because being lowest scorer in the league, it's gonna catch up to you. 3-1 is not gonna last long. You're gonna see 3-1 turn to 3-6 really quick. And number 6 is, I put Breen here because he's pretty much the run-of-the-mill average team so far this year. He's 2-2, right in the middle of the pack. He's 6th scorer on the year, right in the middle of the pack. He's not streaky, as he hasn't won or lost more than 1 in a row, just alternating every week, standing at 2-2. Looking at his team, I do like it. Bryce Harper's been out of his mind. David Ortiz, since coming back from his minor league stint to start the year, in 8 games, he's batting .516 for an average of 5.3 fantasy points a game. That's disgustingly good. He's got a couple question marks in middle infield. But other than that, decent offense. Pitching's great. Madison Bumgarner, Jordan Zimmerman, John Lester, all averaging 18 or higher. Hyunrin Ryu, whatever the fuck his name is, for the Dodgers is averaging 14. Jaime Garcia is 11. Medlin, Williamson, Medlin and Hudson are not the best, but I mean overall pretty decent team. Again, pretty straight run of the mill. I could see him improving slightly above 500. You're at week 4, he's at 2-2. By week 8, I could see him being 5-3 potentially if this trend continues, especially if Ortiz. I mean, obviously he'll regress to some point. He's not gonna bat 500 in the year, but if he keeps it up, I think this team is a above 500 team. Number 5. Okay, so I made a mistake. I meant to put Breen 5th, not 6th. I meant to put Dan 6th, and now I'm putting Dan at the 5 spot. I got him backwards. I just don't feel like refilming the Breen bit. I don't really care. So, Breen, you're number 5 before you freak out on me, and Dan's number 6. Why do I say that? Well, Breen is the 6th highest scorer. Well, Dan is 54 points ahead of him on the year. However, Dan has lost 2 in a row, including just losing to Breen. So it really isn't right to put Dan ahead of Breen. So Breen gets the number 5 spot. Now to take a look at Dan's team here. He's 2-2 after starting 2-0. This is the new guy. Carlos Santana doing well. Wish you would have done that last year when I had him, but whatever. Joey Votto's doing decent. Brandon Phillips is alright. Austin Jackson. Ian Kinsler's doing very well. Got a couple holes there at shortstop, third base. Matt Kemp, 1.8. Hopefully he'll turn that around. Average to slightly above average pitching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 active starters. They're all averaging 10 or better, so that's good. No one averaging over 20. Doug Fister's at 18.8 with his highest. So I'd say he's got better pitching than hitting, but no, it's a pretty average team, kind of like Breen. Just hit a rough patch last couple of weeks, so we'll see where that takes the new guy. But I look to see him to stay around 500 for a little while. Number 4. At 4th, I put Travis. If this was 1 week ago, Travis probably would have got the number 1 ranking, maybe number 2. But he did lose last week, and he now stands at the 3rd highest scorer on the year, which is very respectable. The top 4 are very difficult to work around, as I feel like this is where we've become the elite right here. Looking at Travis's lineup, it's a little bit different than a lot of the other teams below him in the sense that a lot of teams had like perennial studs and really weak spots, whereas I don't think Travis has as many weak spots or as many studs. He only has one offensive player, starting or bench, that averages under 2 points a game, but he also only has 2 players on his team averaging over 3.0. Most of them are in the 2.6 to 2.9 range, so more consistency there, but it evens out not having these studs there. As far as pitching, Verlander 15.2, very good year so far. CC Sabathia 15.2 as well, also a very good year. Cole Hamels 7.8, off to a rough start. Shelby Miller 17.0, also a very valuable player to have as Travis is able to put him in the relief spot. He qualifies as a reliever or a starter, so that helps him. Kyle Loesch 13.0, very good year. Cueto, before we went down in the L, was averaging 15.7. Here's where it gets me, right here. Clay Buchholz, 25.8 points a game. Number 1 pitcher in the league, 5-0. He's let up 5 runs over 5 games with an ERA of 1.19. 39 strikeouts. This guy is a fucking stud this year. All right, the Red Sox are lucky to have him, and so is Travis. This guy alone would make a pitching staff, and the fact that he's got Verlander, Sabathia, and all those other guys makes for the maybe the best starting lineup in our league, if not then Dave's probably. But Travis is always in it. He usually starts off really slow, 1-3, 2-4, 1-4, something like that, and he usually turns it around, makes a late run into the playoffs. Starting off 3-0, maybe he does it the other way around this year. Maybe he starts off really strong and he regresses, or maybe he starts off strong and keeps going throughout the year. We'll see. I think this is a good team. Offense could use a little work, but definitely solid pitching. Number 3, here I put Bernardo. Bernardo and Travis are pretty much interchangeable at this point, as they're both 3-1. They both started off 3-0. They both just lost last week, and they're both in the top 3 in scoring. Bernardo was actually number 1, whereas Travis was number 3, which is why I edged him out. Debated, again, the top 4. No spoiler alert on the last 2. I mean, you can tell they're Eric and me, but the where each of them falls I won't reveal yet. The top 4, I had Bernardo at number 1, and then I had Travis at number 1, and I had Eric at number 1, and I've switched it around so many times. I think the top 4 are pretty much interchangeable at this point. Looking at Bernardo's lineup, similar to Travis, again, a lot of guys in the high 2 range, 2.6, 2.8, 2.9, 2.7. He does have Kadire at 3.4 and Tulowitzki at 3.5. And the low end, he's got Upton at 0.8, but he's not starting him smartly enough. Pitching, again, like Travis, this is a stud squad. Wainwright, 22. Anibal Sanchez, 21. Harvey, 25.5. Hisashi Iwakirokuma, whatever the fuck his name is, the Seattle pitcher, 19.2. Greinke was doing 18.5 through 2 starts after going down in the DL. Or before going down in the DL. Honestly, this is almost an identical squad to Travis's. So, I mean, you can put him either way. But he's even got room for improvement. Pujols is at 2.4. Let's see. Josh Johnson, 1.5. Can't imagine that getting any worse. Brian McCann started the year in the DL. Mike Nabby's been a good fill-in, but McCann will likely be his starter when he comes back. Again, BJ Upton, 0.8. Paul Konerko, 2.0. These are guys that have room to improve. I think Bernardo's team, his offense should get better with time. His pitching will be tough to stay that good, but we'll see. Bernardo, like myself and Travis, is always a contender. I mean, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think the last 6 fantasy championships have gone to all 3 of us, or 7 if you count. Let's see. I won last year for baseball. I won the year before that for baseball. Travis won football this past year. Bernardo won football before that. Travis won football before that. Travis won football before that. I think I just did one too many with Travis, but whatever. Bernardo just won the March Madness. I think Travis won March Madness a couple years ago. There was a couple years in between where none of us won because it was someone from Pandas Town. So, kind of the big 3 in fantasy sports. Again, interchangeable, but Bernardo sits at number 3 right now. Number 2. I know I'm going to get shit for putting myself number 2 because I stand at 2-2, and you guys always think I put myself too high. But, you know, I back it up with stats, alright? And I have won the last 2 years, so clearly there's something going on right. I'm 2-2, but I've won 2 in a row. I'm only the 5th highest scorer, but that first week I had an abysmal showing. I put up 165, I believe. It's the 3rd lowest score through 4 weeks. So through 40 possible scores, that week ranked 38th. You take that out, and the next week I did lose again, but I scored the 3rd highest in the league. Week 3, I was the highest in the league. This past week, I was the 2nd highest in the league. So clearly there's a trend. I'm staying in the top 3 and scoring outside that week. You take that week, and over the last 3-week period, I'd be the highest scorer. So you got to look at that. As far as my team, Przinski hasn't been great, 2.3. I got some 2.5s, 2.6s. Manny Machado's do 2.9. I picked up Nava recently. He's got a 3. He's averaging 3.0. Big part of my offense come from Chris Davis at 3.9. As far as pitching, Irvin Santana's been insane at 19.2. Lance Lynn, 17.6. Dempster's been doing well, 14.4. Estrada, 11.8. Scherzer, 16.5. The only hole in my lineup, you could say, is Matt Cain, who, go figure, I believe 5th starting pitcher off the board. First one by me. He's been he got 21 the first week, which was good. No earned runs, but didn't get the win. Next week, gave up 9 runs, got a loss, -19. Next week, only 2 earned runs through 7. Again, good, but didn't get the win. Got 14 points. Next week, gave up 7 runs. Awful, loss, -4. Next week, 3 earned runs, 12 points, no win. So every other week he's been having every other start rather he's been having a respectable start, and the other 2 were god awful. But however, in the respectable starts, he hasn't been getting the wins. His ERA stands at 6.5. He's 0-2. But I mean, this is Matt Cain we're talking about. I mean, it's very possible that he'd stay this bad, like Lincecum did last year. But for the most part, starting pitchers don't regress that quickly. I see a turnaround. He's starting tonight. He's playing Arizona. He'll be facing up against Ian Kennedy. I'm hoping this to be his first win. But again, you know, I've won 2 in a row. I've been among the highest scorers 3 weeks in a row, and my team's only going to get better with Granderson coming off the DL in a couple months. So I put myself at 2. Love it or hate it, that's what I did. And without further ado, your number 1 ranking is Eric. No surprise there, based on the fact that he's the only person left. Eric and I have in very similar situations. We both started off 0-2. We both won 2 in a row. We've both been among the highest scorers the last couple of weeks. Eric was the highest scorer last week, which is ultimately what matters most in a hot streak. He put up 318. The next highest was me at 290. So we went above and beyond last week. He now stands at the second highest score on the year. Yes, he's put up 1110. Bernardo's at 1132. Next highest is Chavis at 1058. So he's got about 60 points in the next highest score below him. I just like Eric's team. Going down, he's got Coco Crisp averaging 4.6 points a game this year. Number 1 outfielder. Okay, go figure. It's batting 290, 22 runs, 5 homers, 12 RBIs, 7 stolen bases. Doesn't jump out at you, but you know he's got low strikeout total. So he struck out just 6 times this year. So go figure. He's also got Robinson Cano, obvious star, 3.6. A lot of guys in the high 2s. Lance Berkman even hitting 3.2. Pitching, Mike Minus 14.8, Matt Leto 17.4, Patrick Corbin 18.0, Yu Darvish 24.8. Just missed the perfect game way back in the beginning of the year, but even since, 10 points, 11 points, 30 points, 29 points. And you got 44 when you got the almost perfect game. He's got Brandon Beachy on the DL. He has yet to start this year, but Eric and I are both high in Beachy. I had him in his rookie year. Eric had him last year, and he's a very good pitcher. And Tony Cingrani. I don't even know who this guy is. He qualifies as reliever and starter, but he's averaging 23 points a start. So, I don't love Eric's pitching. They're all doing very well, but a lot of them are kind of no-name guys that are overproducing. Maybe they'll stay there, but I see them regressing. I can't even, I've never even heard of some of these guys before. But with that said, power rankings are not influenced by what I think is going to happen the next 3 weeks. They're influenced by what has happened in the last 3 weeks. In the last 3 weeks, Eric's been amongst the highest score, and he's now on a 2-game winning streak, and he's the second highest score overall. That's why I put Eric number 1. So good for you, Eric. Enjoy it while it lasts. And, yeah, I see Eric getting some more wins in the future. So that's it. That's my power rankings for week 4. I don't know if I'm going to do these every week. It takes a little bit of time. I'm thinking every 2 weeks, maybe every 3 weeks. But I think I like the video idea. I'll keep it going. If you guys, I mean, it's up to you guys, really. If you guys don't want to sit through, I don't know how long this will be when it's all put together. But, you know, if you don't want to sit through a 35-minute video or whatnot, then so be it. But I think it's a little more fun. It adds a little more liveliness to the league, and I don't know. That's what they do in the show, The League. They post videos, so I thought, you know, it's kind of cool to do. So, that's it. Until next time, see ya.